So how do we do it? How do we stop doing it?
Well, I think number one, you have to stop having sex with your ex is the thing, is because I think that's the part people always go to me. I'm always getting clients that are just, it's complicated. No, it's not. If you want closure, start with your legs.
That is a very good quote.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you make it complicated. It doesn't need to be complicated, and especially if someone has moved on with someone else, and then people continue to keep sleeping with that person. That's terrible.
Why are people satisfied to be that little bit on the side when they know they've moved on and they're happy to take whatever scraps they can get?
It's all about your self-esteem.
Oh.
I think so. And or they think that, no one else will do it for me like this person, or they think they'll get them back. And I think that if they're going to do that to you or have you be that bit on the side, they're absolutely going to do that again. And it's just not good karma. And I think it's not good for your self-esteem. And I get so many people that are involved in affairs.
It is hard to cut it off, though, because
Yeah.
there's so many comfortable things. There's so many ways in which your worlds interlace. It is hard to just
And also
write
just
them out.
a few wines, and you might send a text, and then suddenly there it is. How do you stop that?
Stop contacting them. Find someone new. Get your ass on Tinder. It's not rocket science.
Okay.
But I think we get tied up, and it's familiar. So I think you've got to just cut it off. Tell them that's it. Send a text. I'm sorry. You don't need to do it in person every time. I'm not a believer in that. I have certain rules for breakups. You don't do it at your own house if you can, because otherwise you might spend all night with them running around your house crying. I've had that experience. That's not fun. So
you don't do it at your house. What else you can do it via text?
I think so. I mean, it depends on the relationship. Obviously, if you're like married with kids, you can't be like, yo, that's it. What's that?
Don't go home tonight.
But if you've been dating, I know for me, I'd be dating a guy for a few months, break up with him via text, and they would get really shitty. Oh, you need to be, we should have done this in person and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I don't,
So you're saying
you
you're
have to protect
actually
yourself.
doing them a favour as well?
Well, I think so. I think that, I've been on both sides of this, and I know I've kept people hanging on just because, they're a security blanket. And it's actually an insecurity blanket. It is, you're hanging on to that person, even though you know that they're not right, but just to have someone there shining a light on you. Because it's nice to have someone like you and be into you. But I think you're also hurting them by leading them on.
Okay, so stop sleeping with them. Block them.
Block them. Tell them it's over. Learn to have boundaries as well. Like if someone keeps giving you a booty call, it's like, don't answer. And I think it's like learning to have boundaries. And boundaries are kind of your personal rules for what you will and won't put up with. And I think that a lot of people don't have good boundaries. There's a really good book called Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No, to Take Control of Your Life. And it's a great book on teaching you how to have rules around how people treat you.
That's I've read that, Henry Cloud and John Townsend,
Yeah, have you read that?
No, I just
I
read
was
it
like,
in
since
notes.
when do you read a book about boundaries?
Definitely not.
Identify where the pattern in your relationship comes from.
Yeah, this is interesting. So once you've kind of kicked them to the curb and said, that's it, a really helpful pattern to do an exercise to figure out where this pattern comes from is get a piece of paper, put it kind of like, horizontal, draw a line across it, and do a timeline for your parents' relationships or your caregivers' relationships. Because a lot of time, it's like there's a divorce here and there's an affair here and there's a, death here and there's all these different things. And it's just interesting to see that pattern. And then do another one below that for your relationships.
Do we often mimic them?
We do, yeah. Whenever I get someone coming to me talking about triangles, love triangles, and having these exes, I always get them to do this exercise. I'm like, we're just going to look at this on paper. And they're like, and it almost always stems in childhood. And so that's what feels normal for them.
Far out.
That's love, is to have these triangles going
So
on.
are you saying once you see it down on paper and you see the pattern that you perhaps are mimicking, that's when you can change things if you choose to?
Yeah, because if it's unconscious, you're not really realizing that it's happening. Once you make it conscious, then you're making conscious decisions to continue the pattern. So, yeah, doing that exercise is amazing.
Fascinating.
Wow, it is.
Okay, anything else to get rid of the ex? Once and for
just
all,
get
Caroline.
really clear about what you want. because I think that people aren't clear about what they want. They don't really put it out there of what kind of relationship they want, what they will and won't put up with. So I think it's kind of making a list of, do you want to get married? Do you want to have babies? Or do you want to be single for the rest of your life? It's figuring out exactly what you want. And then if that person fits into that, then that's great. But if they don't, you need to get rid of them.
Yeah, because you're wasting precious time.
No, but it's never that simple, is it? It's about sometimes you have to make the brick fit into the hole, or you have to make sacrifices to be clear about what you want and to move forward.
I know, but you've got to also make sacrifices to get what you want in life. Because as soon as you said that, I think of some of my friends who have wasted so much time on losers, and they want the whole baby thing, and then it's too late by the end. And I'm like, you should have got rid of him so much. Like, if that's where you wanted to go, you've got to make hard calls earlier.
You've got to take control of that situation.
Yeah.
You got to make decisions about your love life with your head, not your heart. Don't follow your
Oh,
heart.
that is so. You can't. That's not how life works. You've got to follow your heart. If you're making heady decisions and not heart decisions, surely.
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on,
I think
back me in here.
you have to have both, right? You can't,
Yeah.
obviously you have to love them and be attracted to them and you have all that, but I think it's also believing in yourself enough that you can have all of it.
And don't make a decision below the waist either.
Exactly.
Heart's
I think-
different to that.
Yeah. Well, men
Heart's
have
up a bit
two
higher.
hearts.
Well, that's complicated. So now I have to make a decision with my heart, my head, and my penis.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
There's the triangle.
Get the head involved.
All right, you want to read about this, you want to get rid of your ex for good, we're getting all of this, maybe not the penis bit, but the rest of it. At thats.co.nz. Thank you, Caroline.